Have you ever seen anyone trade rotten fish for rice? If you ever encounter such a thing, never agree. When my grandfather was young, a fishmonger once passed through the yard. He asked to trade some fish for a bowl of rice to eat. At that time, fish was not worth much, but my grandmother was kind-hearted, so she agreed. She went back inside and scooped him a bowl of rice. After finishing his meal, the fishmonger kept thanking her. "Madam, you are truly merciful. I will not hide the truth from you tonight. A water demon will come to your house. When that happens, do not open the door." My grandmother was puzzled, but before she could ask anything, the fishmonger had already turned away. As he left, he reminded her again, "Water demons cannot catch live fish. They only take rotten ones. If you meet a rotten fish seller, do not talk to him." My grandmother was half doubtful, half believing. When evening came, my grandfather returned home from fishing. She told him everything. He listened, then gave a cold laugh. "Ridiculous," he said. "Fresh fish die quickly once they are pulled from the river. Rotten fish sellers are everywhere. Are they all supposed to be water demons?" My grandmother could only sigh and reply, "It is daylight." What he said also makes some sense. Perhaps it is better to believe than to dismiss it. My grandfather snorted. "I have fished half my life and never once seen a water demon. That man must be a fetishist." Then they heard a cry outside by fish. Here, indeed, there was a fish seller at the gate. He stood there, calling out. My grandfather frowned. "Why does this fish seller linger? I will chase him away." My grandmother quickly grabbed his arm. "Do not go. Let him sell if he wants. With all this rain and heavy dampness, I fear it might really be a water demon." But my grandfather paid no attention. "It is not even dark. How could it be a demon?" He pushed her aside and strode to the gate. Throwing it open, outside stood a thin man, his whole body wrapped up, only his eyes showing. He carried a stench of fish on his body. On his shoulder hung a bamboo pole with two massive fish tied at either end, each at least a meter long, fat and heavy, but both were dead. Their eyes already cloudy. They must have been dead for 2 days, at least. My grandfather's eyes lit up at the sight. Never in his life had he caught fish that big. As he stood, stunned, the fish seller sneered twice and said, "Do you want to buy these?" My grandfather replied, "These fish are dead. They are worthless." The fish seller nodded again and again. "Brother, these I will give to you for free, only if you agree to help me with one matter." My grandfather was about to answer, but my grandmother pulled him back. She said firmly, "We do not need your fish. Sell them elsewhere." Then she tried to shut the gate, but before it closed, the fish seller grabbed hold of it. "Old fish seller came here earlier, did he not?" he asked. "Did he tell you I was a water demon and warn you not to speak with meat?" That my grandmother froze silent. The fish seller went on, "We both fish the same river. He is jealous that I catch bigger fish, so he spreads lies from house to house, calling me a demon so that no one will buy my fish. He is the liar." My grandparents exchanged uneasy glances. My grandfather then asked, "Where did you catch these? Surely not by hook. Such size must come from a net." The fish seller replied, "From the river below, the mountain. Every heavy rain brings big fish." My grandfather frowned. "I have passed that river many times and never seen such fish." The man laughed. "Brother, we live by fishing. Of course, we have our skills. If you want to catch such fish, I can take you, but you must help me first." "What matter?" asked my grandfather. The man said, "My family lives by the river. We eat fish all year. I only wish to trade some fish for rice." When he said this, my grandmother's face darkened. The fish seller quickly added, "Do not be afraid. Those of us by the river often trade fish for rice. If I am not wrong, that old man also said the same, did he not?" My grandmother nodded yes. He too wanted to trade fish for rice. My grandfather rolled his eyes. "I will give you rice tonight. Tomorrow you take me to catch big fish." The man shook his head, smiling. "I want uncooked rice to take home." My grandfather's expression changed. That is too much. I will give at most half a bowl. The man squinted. Half a bowl, then half a bowl, so be it. My grandmother fetched a pouch. He poured the rice inside, then smiled. Brother, tonight it will rain heavily. Tomorrow at midnight I will come for you and lead you to the big fish. My grandfather quickly suggested, better you stay here for the night. When the hour comes tomorrow, we will go together. He feared the man might take the rice and never return. The fish seller gave a shrill laugh, his shoulders shaking. Very well, I will stay at your house tonight. No sooner had he spoken than thunder rolled and heavy rain poured down. Water fell in sheets. They all hurried back inside. My grandparents' house had 2 rooms, an eastern and a western, to prevent the man from slipping away. My grandfather made me and the fish seller sleep in the eastern room that night. I smelled a foul stench from him, strong and fishy, like rotten fish. Outside, the rain grew heavier, the wind howled, and by dawn the yard was covered in dead fish, big and small, at least several hundred. They filled the air with a stomach-turning stench. My grandfather hauled them onto a cart and dumped them into the river. Trip after trip before the yard was cleared, yet still the smell lingered. What on earth is going on? Where did all these fish come from? He muttered. My grandmother guessed perhaps the storm blew them here. Strange indeed. My grandfather frowned, clearly Is the fish seller from last night? Why do I not see him? She asked. My grandfather looked around, alarmed. That bastard, could it be he ran off? He turned the whole house upside down, but the man was gone. My grandmother sighed. He tricked us for half a bowl of rice. If I see him again, I will break his legs. My grandfather swore. My grandmother tried to calm him. Let it go, treat it as a loss in place of misfortune. I fear that fish seller was not human at all. It is better that he has gone, the uncle said angrily, calling him a fraud. All these fish sellers are nothing but swindlers. Hardly had he finished speaking when another fish seller appeared at the gate. It was the old man from yesterday. The moment he stepped into the yard, he cried out in alarm, "This is bad. I told you not to open the door to the water demon." Before he had finished speaking, the uncle grabbed a spade, ready to strike him. The old man backed away at once, protesting again and again. "Brother, what are you doing? I came here to save youth." Uncle cursed coldly. "I despise your kind. You are all liars. It tricked me out of half a bowl of rice, and you are all scoundrels. Shall I beat you to death here and now?" The old fish seller frowned deeply and explained, "Brother, you have been deceived by the water demon. That creature who eats raw rice is no man. It is a water demon. Of course it needs raw grain." The uncle's face changed at those words. "What do you mean by this?" the fish seller continued. "I have seen that water demon with my own eyes. It lures people to the river at the foot of the mountain and drowns them. Did it not tell you it would come tonight at the hour of the brat to take you fishing for great catches?" The old man nodded grimly. "Yes, that is exactly what it said, but then it fled, talking nonsense about catching big fish." The fish seller shook his head over and over. "No, brother, it is a water demon. It cannot stay far from water in the heat of the day. It must return beneath the surface, but tonight it will rise again. It will come looking for you, believe me. Do not go with it. If you do, it will drag you under and drown you at this." The uncle's face darkened once more. "If you are so clever, then stay here and catch the demon yourself. When you succeed, I will believe." Youth old fish seller shook his head. "Brother, I am just a fish seller, an ordinary man. How could I dare fight a water demon? You have not seen, it's dreadful form." Grandmother broke in. "It coils itself around the body. We have indeed never seen its true shape." The fish seller sighed. "Sister, take a few drops of golden ox tears tonight. Put them in your eyes, then you will see the form of the demon, and you will know whether I lie or not. I must go now. I dare not face that thing. Take care of yourselves." And with that, he turned and left. The uncle frowned in irritation. What ill fortune, grandmother sighed. I will go to old Liu the third's house and fetch some golden ox tears. If the demon truly comes, we must call on blind Chen for help. She went at once, and before long returned with a small vial of golden ox tears, smiling. She said, "What luck, I had only just gone out, and there was old Liu returning from releasing fish." She placed the golden ox tears in grandfather's eyes, then the rest into her own, seeing a little left in the vial. "You," cried out grandma, "please let me have some tube." She refused. "No, you are still a child, you must not look upon such filth." Then she poured the last drops onto the ground. When night fell, grandfather and grandmother sat together on the earthen bed, watching through the window towards the gate, waiting for the fish seller to appear. But they waited, and still no one came. Grandfather stamped his foot in fury. "That wretched fish seller, a swindler indeed. He tricked me out of half a bowl of rice," and rang. Grandmother, however, let out a breath of relief. Better a swindler than a water demon. Yet, even as she spoke, a voice rang out at the gate, "Brother, come quickly tonight. There are great fish." They heard the voice clearly, but no figure could be seen. The gate was low and wooden. If the fish seller were really standing there, they ought to have seen him at once. Grandfather frowned and asked wife, "Do you see the fish seller?" She shook her head. "No, I see no one." Again the voice called out from the gate, "Brother, hurry, come out tonight. There are great fish." Grandfather called back, "Where are you? Why can I not see you?" Voice replied, "Brother, I am right here at the gate. Look closely." Grandfather and grandmother leaned out of the window, peering into the yard, and at last they saw the fish seller standing. Their grandmother nodded. Now that he dares to show his face, surely he cannot be the water demon. But still, the fish seller urged them again. "Brother, open the door quickly." Grandfather answered, "He's already here," and stepped down from the earthen bed. The boy leaned close to the window, looking out toward the gate of the yard. Just one glance, and he was horrified. The figure standing at the gate was not a man, but a corpse propped upright. The face of the corpse was badly decayed, crawling with maggots. Its eyes had fallen out, leaving only two hollow black sockets here. Hurriedly warned, "Grandpa, don't go. He's not alive." Grandfather grew angry and scolded, "Nonsense. Both your grandmother and I can see it. It's the fishmonger." Grandmother nodded. "Yes, the fishmonger. Not some water demon." She pulled the boy into her arms and soothed him. "Little fuck, you must have been mistaken." The boy shook his head anxiously. "No, I wasn't wrong. The one at the gate is a corpse. He is a water demon." No sooner had he spoken than the voice of the fishmonger sounded again outside the gate. "Brother, if you don't come now, I'll leave. If you're late, there'll be no fish left. Come on." "Come on." Grandfather, ignoring everything, went out into the yard, took his rod and net from the shed. The boy turned to his grandmother. "Don't let him go. The thing at the gate is really a corpse." He wriggled free from her arms, tumbled off the earthen bed, and ran outside. He saw grandfather already opening the gate. Terrified, he cried out, "Grandpa, come back. He's a water demon." The fishmonger turned his head to look at him, even without eyes. The black hollows made the boy tremble all over. The fishmonger said, "Brother, if you won't come, I'll go and catch a big fish myself." As soon as he said this, he turned to leave. Grandfather hurriedly followed him. "I'll go with you. If we catch a big fish, I'll give you half a pound of rice." The boy tried to pull grandfather back, but grandmother held him tightly. She said softly, "Little fuck, listen to grandpa. He's going to catch a big fish. When he returns, we'll cook it for you to eat." The boy burst into tears. "Grandpa has gone with the water demon." Grandmother froze for a few seconds. Impossible. Both she and her husband had washed their eyes with special drops. so they could see no unclean spirits, but the child, with tears streaming, could see clearly that figure. Dripping with river water was indeed a water demon. At that moment, old Tam, who was herding cattle, passed by the gate. He laughed. "What's the matter? Why is the boy crying?" Grandmother forced a smile. "Nothing. His grandfather didn't take him fishing, so he's sulking." Old Tam frowned. "Why are you only back now? It's late," he sighed. "Don't mention it. Today was strange. I planned to come back in the afternoon, but I lost my way on the mountain, circling for hours before I found a path down." The moment he spoke, Grandmother's face turned pale. "You've just come down from the mountain?" "Yes, I've been up there all day," he said. Her expression changed instantly, nearly collapsing. Old Tam was alarmed. "What's wrong, Grandmother?" "Face ashen," whispered Old Tam. "Fetch the villagers at once. Fuck's grandfather may have been taken by a water demon." Old Tam's eyes widened. "Don't panic, I'll call them now." He dashed off to gather the villagers. Grandmother washed her eyes with water, then told the boy, "Fuck, stay inside, lock the door. Don't come out. I want to go with you. I can't stay alone." "I'm afraid the demon will return," she hesitated, then finally took him along soon. The villagers arrived at the house, carrying iron spades and torches. Grandmother led them toward the river at the foot of the mountain. Perhaps if they hurried, they could still save him, but it was too late when they reached the river. Grandfather was already dead. His body floated on the water. Clearly a wrongful death, the villagers gasped. In horror, Grandmother fainted on the spot. Only waking after several calls, Old Tam ordered quickly, "Pull him out." A few young men waded into the water, but scrambled back almost at once, shouting together, "There's a water demon in the river." The night was dark, the water unclear. Those with torches drew closer. Beside Grandfather's body floated another head. The fishmonger who had come the previous evening. The river lapped over his neck, only his head exposed. His eyes were gone, leaving two hollow black pits staring at the people on the bank. The villagers recoiled in fear. Old Tam said gravely, "This corpse is heavy with resentment. Hauling it out now will bring misfortune. Better wait until morning." Grandmother sighed. "That's all we can do." Grandfather's body remained in the river overnight. At dawn, the villagers returned. His corpse still floated there, but the other corpse had changed. The water that once reached its neck now only reached its shoulders. Sharped villager cried out, "It's Juan Bo!" The corpse in the water is Juan Bo. Juan Bo had once been close with the boy's uncle. After failing his university exams, he stayed in the village, selling fish, but not long ago, he vanished. Everyone thought he had gone to the city. No one expected he had died in the river. His eyes gouged out. Tone, Tran. "Go and fetch old Tran." Old Tran was known as Blind Tran, an elder who lived halfway up the mountain, rarely coming down. The villagers rushed to bring him by donkey cart. His hair was snow white, his face ancient. At least 100 years old, they crowded round, begging for guidance. Blind Tran spoke, "The corpse is full of grievance. By the end of the day, it will surely come ashore." Grandmother pleaded. "Master Tran, our family and Juan Bo bore no grudges. My son was even close to him. We helped pay for his father's funeral. Why would he harm my husband?" Blind Tran narrowed his eyes. "A standing corpse is one that was murdered. In death, it sees its killer, but his eyes were gouged out, so the killer cannot be named. He was also nailed with iron, so he cannot hear. Unable to see or hear, he can only seek a substitute for revenge. Your husband was unfortunate enough to meet him." Grandmother wept. "Master Tran, what should I do? We can't leave him in the water forever." Blind Tran shook his head. "Of course not. If left too long, he too will become a standing corpse, then trouble will follow. He paused. Let the child call him back. Grandmother was stunned. Little fuck is only 5. How can he do it? Perhaps wait for my son Vong Long to return. Blind Tran shook his head again. By then, your husband will not return with no choice. She turned to the boy. Fuck quickly. Call your grandfather back. Grandfather's corpse, soaked all night, was pale and ghastly. The boy stood at the river's edge, calling, Grandpa, come back, quickly. Twice he called. But the body did not stir. Blind Tran said, louder, keep calling. The boy gathered all his strength, shouting until his voice echoed across the mountain. Grandpa, come back. At last, the corpse stirred, drifting slowly toward the bank. He dared not stop, screaming again, Grandpa. Return. Minutes later, grandfather's body reached the shore. Blind Tran cried, quickly, pull him up. Several young men hauled him onto the bank. His body dripped with foul water, reeking of rot. Blind Tran ordered, take him home, set up the mourning hall, keep vigil for 3 days, then cremate both body and coffin. Grandmother bowed. In gratitude. Thank you, Master Tranner. Villager asked anxiously, and what about Juan Bo if he comes ashore? Won't the whole village suffer? Blind Tran narrowed his eyes. These days it has rained without end, the air heavy with yin. Xuan Bo wants to use this to rise. To stop him, we must make him afraid. At that moment, a tall, broad-shouldered young man named Dai Kun stepped forward. In his hand he held a large knife. What is so frightening about a corpse? He sneered. If you ask me, chop off its head. Once the head is gone, let's see what it can do. As soon as he spoke, Dai Kun made to go down into the river to behead Zhuan Bao. The villagers rushed to stop him, but he shook them off angrily. You may fear a corpse, but I do not with that. He stepped into the water. Knife in hand, the riverbank was shallow, yet the moment he waded in, the water began to rise unnaturally. After only a few steps, it was already at his shoulders. The villagers cried out, Daikon, come back quickly. His face turned pale. He wanted to retreat, but no matter how he struggled, he could not turn back. The water surged higher, reaching his neck. Panic seized him. He looked at Blind Tran and shouted, Master Tran, save me. But Blind Tran only shook his head. Once you step into the water, I cannot help. Youth River climbed higher still. Covering his nose, Daikon thrashed wildly, but in the end, he was dragged under and vanished. The villagers stared wide-eyed, horror written on their faces. Blind Tran sighed. Tonight, no one must go near the river. Hide in your homes. From his sleeve, he drew a red cord, threaded with copper coins. He tied it to a large tree, marking off the riverbank with the line, I will guard the river for these next few days. The rest of you go home. The villagers exchanged uneasy looks, but obeyed. Dispersing one by one, a few young men helped carry the boys. Grandfather back to the house. Grandmother bought another coffin and laid him within. The boy knelt on the ground, kowtowing before his grandfather, while grandmother sat burning paper offerings at his side. By nightfall, the youngest uncle had hurried back from the city. He rushed home upon hearing of his father's sudden death. The moment grandmother saw him, she could no longer hold back her tears. Vong Long, she wept. Your father was slain by a water demon. The young uncle froze, disbelief in his eyes. A water demon? Impossible. There are no such things in this world. But grandmother sobbed. It was a water demon. And that demon was none other than your friend, Xuan Bao. Her words. The young uncle collapsed to the ground, terror filling his gaze. His voice trembled a little as he asked, Mother, who is the water demon? Grandmother burst into tears again and repeated, It is Zhuan Bo. The youngest uncle widened his eyes and muttered, Zhuan Bo How could he become a water demon? That is impossible. Then he turned to grandmother and asked, "Mother, why did you not tell me sooner? Why wait until I returned to say it now?" Grandmother sighed. Telling you earlier would change nothing. The moment she finished speaking, the youngest uncle's face went pale. "If you had told me sooner, I would never have come back. A water demon, what terrible misfortune. I must leave at once." He hurriedly grabbed his luggage, ready to go, but grandmother quickly blocked his way. "Tonight it will rain, you cannot leave," Old Man Tran already said. "When the sky rains, the resentment grows heavy. The water demon will climb ashore to find a replacement. If you go now, you will surely meet it." The uncle stomped his foot in anger. "I must go. Even if hail falls from the sky, I will return to the city. If you want me to live, then do not stop me." Grandmother looked helplessly at him. "Vonglong, what do you mean by this?" "I only want what is best for you," but he snapped back. "You understand nothing. Do not stop me with those words." He took his luggage and strode out into the yard. Grandmother chased after him anxiously. "It is already dark. If you must go, then wait until morning. It is not safe at night." But with a dark expression, he said, "I do not want to stay here another moment. If you fear for my safety, then drive the mule cart and take me to town. If you will not take me, I will walk with his strength." It was easy for him to shrug off grandmother's grip. She had no choice but to agree. She prepared the cart and told him to climb aboard. He kept urging, "Hurry, faster," not daring to stay behind alone. The nephew climbed into the cart as well. Grandmother drove the mule cart out through the village gate. The road was eerily quiet. Everyone hid inside their houses. No one dared step outside. The silence pressed down like a heavy weight. At the end of the village, they saw Old Man Tran, blind, sitting beneath a large tree. "I told you to stay hidden. Why have you come out?" he scolded. Grandmother explained Vong Long wishes to return to the city. "Please persuade him for me." But the uncle's face darkened. "No need to persuade me. I will go tonight." Before his words had faded, the blind man said, "The standing corpse has already climbed ashore. It is heading toward the village gate. If you leave now, you will surely encounter it at that." The uncle's face turned ashen. "Blind Tran, are you not said to have skill and power? How could you let it climb ashore?" Vonglong, best be careful. The standing corpse rises to seek revenge. The uncle frowned. Staring into the pitch-black distance, the forest loomed, dark and endless. No one could know what might crawl out from it. His face twisted with unease. He spoke quickly. "Old Man Tran, take me to town. Whatever the cost, I will pay." The old man shook his head. "If I go, the villagers will suffer. I cannot leave," grandmother pleaded. "Vonglong, listen. Wait until tomorrow." The uncle turned back to the blind man. "Tomorrow, will I be able to leave?" Tran shook his head. "The corpse will return to the water by dawn. If the morning brings sunshine, you may leave. But if it rains, you cannot." The uncle stamped his foot in fury. "So according to you, I can never leave?" Blind Tran narrowed his eyes. Staring silently into the black forest, the uncle's gaze flickered with faint fear. He muttered, "Let us go home." Grandmother sighed in relief. "Thank you, Old Man Tran, do not thank me. Whether fortune or misfortune still remains to be seen," he replied, then whispered, "Poor Juan Bo. Such a pitiful fate." The uncle scoffed coldly. "Pitiful? He harmed my father. He deserves no pity. Becoming a corpse is nothing but just desserts." With that, he ordered grandmother to turn the cart back as soon as they reached home. Thunder rumbled overhead, lightning split the sky, and rain poured down in torrents inside the morning hall. The candles suddenly extinguished. In that darkness, the nephew heard a sound from within the coffin. It was the uncle's voice, faint, urging, "Go, Go quickly." Then his throat released a strange rattling noise. As if it were his final breath, the youngest uncle sneered coldly. "The corpse is about to rise." Close the coffin lid. He and grandmother hurriedly sealed the lid shut. Then both ran into the eastern room. Grandmother asked nervously, "Vong Long, how is life in the city?" The uncle answered with a chilling tone. "Not good." She was surprised. "Why not?" He laughed bitterly. "Poor as dirt, unable to buy anything, only able to look." Grandmother frowned. "Next time you leave, I will give you more money. After your father's funeral, we have received condolence gifts. Spend them carefully." He curled his lip in annoyance. "I know." With that he lay down on the earthen bed and fell asleep. The next morning, the rain still poured. The yard was already flooded, the uncle declared. "It is day. I must go to town," grandmother warned quickly. Old man Tran said, "The rain today carries heavy resentment. You cannot go. You will meet the water demon." "Nonsense," he snapped. "I do not believe in such things. In broad daylight, what water demon could appear? I am not afraid. Take me at once. If you will not, then I will go myself." "Why do you trust that blind man so much? If he meant to harm me, then what?" Grandmother was stunned. "Why would he harm you? Our families bear no grudges. He only moved here half a year after your grandfather died," the uncle muttered darkly. "I do not know why, but I feel uneasy in this house. As if someone means me harm." Grandmother frowned. "Vong Long, you were once close to Zhuanbao. Now that you return, you care nothing for his fate." The uncle smirked. "We have not spoken for years. Why should I care? I only wish to leave quickly." He prepared the cart, but grandmother said, "Let me ask old man Tran again. If he says you may leave, then I will allow it." His face clouded. "Even if he forbids it, I will go." They drove to the edge of the village. There stood the blind old man, his face pale. "Blood at the corner of his mouth?" grandmother asked. "Old man Tran, what happened?" He answered grimly. "I met the corpse. I barely escaped with my life." The uncle rushed forward. "Where is it now? If I go to the city, will it follow?" Tran squinted. "It lurks beneath the river. It has already found its eyes. It knows who killed it. No matter where that person flees, it will find them." The uncle turned deathly pale, stammering, "Its eyes, but they were gouged out. How could it see?" Tran gave a crooked smile. "If you do not believe, I can take you to the river. See for yourself in broad daylight. I do not believe it dares run wild." The uncle said they went together through the rain to the riverbank, and there Juan Bo still lingered beneath the waters. His eyes were clouded, but they were not his own. They looked like the eyes of an old man, as though plucked from another corpse and forced into his empty sockets. The sight was terrifying. Those eerie eyes stared straight toward the shore, glaring so intently that it made every soul shiver with dread.